Hello, everybody, and welcome to the big debate. Now, I think we're going to put this down my channel as well as the Planet Sport Network. So if you're not signed up over on the Planet Sport Network, do. This is part of the hijinks and the fun we get up to at the end of every show. We have a big debate, and it looks like we've picked a topic that both guys feel passionately about here, and they're going to tear each other limb from limb. There's often some besmirching of characters goes on, and we all shake hands and live happily ever after. So what is going to happen, and we'll let you, the audience, judge it, is we're going to let both competitors here, gladiators, facilitate their argument, and then my favorite bit where they get to debunk the opponent, and if there's any shahousery goes on, that goes a long way to winning. And then you can get your votes in down in the comments as to who has won. Ben HD, are you ready for this?
Always ready for a big debate. Always raring to go.
Justin, are you confident?
Now I've got a topic that is down my street, then yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Justin is. If you are a subscriber over on Planet Sport, you'll know that Justin has been sold some dodgy bills of goods in recent weeks and had to try and defend the indefensible. We're talking video games here, and I suppose this is part of the reason that we're going to let the audience judge this. We were just talking about Frank Lampard pulling the wool over Mel Morris's eyes. In this scenario, I am Mel Morris, and these two guys are Frank Lampard. They would be able to hoodwink me fairly easily. So there are two very, very big video games in the football sphere, and I think we've got a lover of each. Ben HD, what is the best football video game out there?
Today, I'm going to be arguing for the correct answer, which is FIFA. FIFA.
Unbelievable scenes. The word has different connotations, doesn't it? FIFA. But in this context, a lot of joy and throwing down of video game pads in anger, I think. And that means, Justin, you're going to be advocating for?
Football Manager, which is by far the greatest ever game in the history of games. There's no contest with Football Manager at all.
Is it better than Super Mario?
I'd argue. We'll debate that next week. Yeah.
Actually, I might be able to stand up for Super Mario. Let's go to Ben HD first then. Give us a bit of background on FIFA, because I remember going around my mate Andrews, who had a Sega Mega Drive. And this is where, because I know you had a birthday recently, this is where I'm going to really show my age, to play FIFA 96, where you could literally just hammer on the kick it forward button and it would go boom, boom, boom. And I think if you picked it, no, it wouldn't. I'm not that old. It wouldn't have been West Germany. It would have been just Germany against Qatar. You could beat them about 500-0 just by. And was that the one where you could run away from? Anyway, tell us about FIFA and why you're advocating for it.
Well, I'm going to show my maybe lack of age from the off straight away. I think the first FIFA that I properly played was maybe FIFA 08, I want to say, on the little Nintendo DS. And then since then, I've had it every single year. And it's just built on it from there. But first of all, what I think is important to get over the line here is we're talking about video games. And the one thing you want, from my point of view, when you're playing video games, is a little bit of fun. You want to be able to switch off from the outside world. You want to be able to turn on your console and think, oh, I'm just going to have a bit of a relax, have a bit of a game of FIFA, and then you're into it. So that's point number one that I just want to get across there. Point number two, and as we go across this, is I think that FIFA has a lot more sort of range and variables of things that you can go into. Football Manager, at the end of the day, is basically career mode. I don't know how much you know about FIFA, Ben, but there's different sort of modes in FIFA that you can go into. And career mode is the sort of one where you're the manager, you know, you look to build a club up, you play the fixtures every season and everything like that. But more so than that, FIFA's got more to offer. You've got Ultimate Team that's on show, where you're playing against every other player in the world. You've got all the online modes that come into FIFA as well. You've got pro clubs. If you want to set up with your mates, you can just control your individual player, then you're going around. I can't tell you, and Justin, I'm sure, will have to fall into this as well. I can't tell you the fun nights that you'll have if you're playing a game of Pro Clubs with all your mates. I'm not sure that you can quite get that same sort of banter with Football Manager if you're just looking at, you know, your spreadsheets and things like that. The other thing to cap off really is it's enjoyable to play because of the gameplay and the stuff you're looking at. The graphics in FIFA are absolutely second to none, and that's what you really want. You want that bit of realism when you're looking at it. You want to be able to feel every tackle. If I'm playing with Ben Pearson, I want to know what it feels like to smash into someone and go through a 50-50 with them. You get all those animations and those little details which just fill you with that little bit of joy. Whereas Football Manager, I don't know, for the most part, you can just see like dots playing around on the screen and things like that. With FIFA, you get into that real depth. So yeah, for me, in terms of the fun factor, in terms of the different game modes that are available, in terms of the graphics, in terms of everything, FIFA for me is just that one that's a little bit more enjoyable.
Brilliant start. Now, this is another reason why I shouldn't judge this, because my mother and my sister went to Lakeside, the shopping centre, and I think I was in year 9 at school, and I'd spoken to them about Championship Manager. And I think for about £25, they bought me in a big green box like you used to get Championship Manager 2, I think. So I do have some form with Football Manager, which means I shouldn't judge this debate. However, when they started putting the game time, you know, when you loaded up your game and it said game time, 9 days. That was when I stopped. I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. 9 days I've played this game for, and I'm still struggling to get West Brom higher than 11. So I've got some form with Championship Manager and Football Manager. But Justin, this is a legendary game now that's been running about the same length of time as FIFA, that Ben HG is just categorized as a glorious database. So I don't know what your comeback is going to be to that.
I think the term should be it is a glorious database, because it holds everything you need about, or any information you need about any player in the world. I can play as a Saudi Arabian side. I can play as a Welsh side. I can play as any team that I want on Football Manager, because it's licensed in the game. You can play as in any country, any team, any league. It is the ideal footballing experience. And Ben was alluding to having fun on FIFA. At no point have I ever enjoyed a game of FIFA. I know I was an avid FIFA player up until 2 or 3 years ago when I grew out of it, mainly because it just put me in a blind rage.
Very disrespectful, Ben. I hope you wrote that one down.
It would just put you in a blind rage, you know, broken controllers, all sorts. Whereas Football Manager is a more of a relaxed experience, albeit in the same sense that it's a second job. It is a second job. You racked up 9 days, did you say, Ben? 900 hours.
I made it up for effect. It probably wasn't 9.
Well, on Football Manager,
far be it for me to exaggerate for effect. I don't do that many times per show, do I?
Well, on Football Manager 2021, I racked up over 900 hours of gameplay, which
oh my God,
is around about a month of my life, based purely in this simulated experience.
How do you feel about that, just quickly?
I don't know. You should probably ask the people that are closest to me how they feel about it, rather. It's I wouldn't say it's held me back in life, but it's actually probably it's set me up for better experiences. I'm probably not selling it as well. I mean, I probably could be a millionaire. I probably could be a millionaire banker by now if it wasn't a Football Manager, and a lot of people probably say the same thing. But putting on a suit and tie when you're in a cup final, it's all part of the experience. And Football Manager generally is the greatest experience that you could have as a football game, and even as just a general pastime. If you've got half an hour to kill, I was stuck in a car park the other day because my other half was in Morrison's and I was waiting for it, and I loaded up Football Manager in my car. It's that sort of game. You can play it anywhere you want, anytime.
Did any part of your brain, Justin, go, do you know what? I hope they don't have enough people working the checkout, so she's just 5 minutes longer, so I can get through this game on Football Manager.
Yeah, I was playing Stoke, and obviously Derby in the current save are absolutely useless because they got no players, and we beat them, and I was very happy on the drive back home. So that's exactly the mood it puts you in. It's the perfect footballing game. It is far better than FIFA. Just no contest for me.
Can I just tell you a story? And I shouldn't have any dog in this fight, but you say there's no blind rage on Football Manager. But when I was a young lad, I fostered a 7-year undefeated home record with Sunderland on, I think, like Championship Manager 97, 98. And I had this computer table, and so there was like this bit here where your computer sat, and this bit here where the keyboard sat, screwed in from underneath, right? And classic Football Manager, 25 shots, don't score, 1 shot, 83rd minute. And just with my knee from underneath, that was very pro wrestling, that, wasn't it? I kicked the table, took the thing off its screws and smashed the table after losing that home record. So there is blind rage in Football Manager.
That's football.
that is football. That is football. Ben HD, a few barbs from Justin Peach there, especially. I grew out of it. I mean, I'm interested to know how you're gonna respond to that. But now is your time to, really eviscerate his argument and throw some shade at the idea that Football Manager is better than FIFA.
Yeah, well, first of all, he went with the whole angle of, it can be quite relaxing to play Football Manager and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think that's maybe a bit of a kind way of saying it's a little bit more boring than FIFA. Whereas FIFA will get you stimulated, visually, because you have everything going on in the screen and, you're controlling the players and things like that. I think it can be a little bit like that. He also said that, with the amount of hours that he sunk into it, that it does become into your second job. And at the end of the day, when we're talking about video games and things like that, is that really what you want? You want a 9-to-5 day at the office when you've been on the computer all day, you've been looking at different spreadsheets for your job, and you're coming back off that as the time to unwind.
Can I quickly bring something up? Sorry, I feel that I just said something pro Justin. I just Googled this quickly. In Ian McIntosh's book, Football Manager Stole My Life, in 2012, the game was cited in 35 divorce cases.
I've read that book.
So women are leaving their marriages here because of this game.
And that's not happening with FIFA. If anything, FIFA's making marriages, because you've got the online community and you're playing against other people. You're playing against other people, and there is that sense of community. If you've had a good game against someone, at the end of it, you might say, "Oh, good game, nice to meet you." You start talking. FIFA is a community that will bring people together. Whereas Football Manager,
basically a dating website, Justin.
It should be. It should be. Because the one bit of ground I will give to Football Manager, and it was a good point that Justin brought up, is how detailed it is and everything. I do give him that. There is that level of depth there, but I also think there can be that level of depth there because you don't actually see the actual games taking place. Really, you have those little 2D things, and the graphics aren't brilliant when you do get into it in the 3D simulator and things like that. Whereas FIFA, second to none, it's absolutely next level graphics and things like that. So FIFA bringing people together, Football Manager causing divorces.
Incredible. I think he's gazumped his Ben Pearson 2-footed tackle on your grandma or whatever it was, Justin. Now, Justin, I just want you to raise at this point, we've obviously used the term FIFA in the context of the game, but you haven't mentioned yet the actual reputation that FIFA has as an organisation and that link. Would you like to now come back and see if you can debunk Ben HD's argument?
I can certainly debunk it. I think the first thing I will mention is Ben said FIFA brings people together. How many of your family members have been besmirched?
He actually said, Justin, FIFA makes marriages. And I quote, FIFA makes marriages.
This is my point. At no point have I ever had a friendly chat with a stranger on a FIFA chat room. The voice chat to members, which we won't go into detail on what gets said, but it's definitely not making marriages, I can tell you that. But in terms of FIFA as an organization, you're quite right to bring that up. FIFA is not a very PR friendly organization. I think FIFA the game as well has problems with it's essentially gambling, isn't it? Buying cards or whatever they are, FIFA points to buy coins. I don't even know what it is now. It's been a while. But for Ultimate Team and what have you, with Football Manager, I think the only added purchase you can have is the in-game editor, where you can make edits to anything you want. You can add yourself into the game if you wanted. Back in the day, I used to do that, make myself an England standard international player, which was always the dream. And you can live that dream through Football Manager. You can't live it through FIFA. In fact, through FIFA, it breaks friendships. I remember a Pro Clubs session. Ryan will be able to attest this. A group of us fell out because of Pro Clubs. It doesn't make marriages. It doesn't make friendships.
Well, that's only because it means so much.
It does mean so much, but I can convey that in my own simulated world on Football Manager. I can be my own Neil Warnock. I can be my own Steve McLaren. You know, if I want to create a hair island on my avatar, I can do that. I can do whatever I want on Football Manager. It's so much more flexible now than it used to be. And even when it used to be, it still was amazing. I would choose Football Manager over FIFA any day, and the main reason for that is because it's just a better simulated experience than it is with FIFA. With FIFA, blind rages, besmirching family members, it's not a healthy experience. You probably need therapy after a good session on it. There's just no contest for me. It's an easy win for Football Manager, this one.
Now, it's sensational, because I do have to say, no disrespect to anybody who's ever been in the debate, but often I've got a fair idea who's going to win, you know, when the talking is finished. But this one feels very, very on a knife edge. Ben, one closing sentence from you on FIFA?
Yeah, the final thing with me on FIFA is, at the end of the day, you want a video game to stimulate you, be fun, get you going a little bit, and FIFA will definitely go ahead and do that.
And Justin, closing on Football Manager?
Any Football Manager player would choose Football Manager over general life activities, and that is how far it ranks, and that is a good decision in my eyes. FIFA, you can't get that with FIFA. Incredible
stuff. Very high standard debate. That was knockdown, drag out. I'm talking Charlton Sunderland playoff final 1998, 4-4, 7-6 on penalties. That one, wasn't it? So get involved down in the comments. Are you team? You can point the right way. There we go. Ben HD. So just write either Ben HD FIFA in the comments, or are you team? There he is down there. JP, and write Football Manager in the comments down there. Be very interested, and we'll do a little head count before next week's show on Planet Sport. If you are watching over on my channel, this is Championship 365, where we collaborate. Myself, Ben HD, Justin, and Ryan is often here from the Second Tier podcast as well. If you go in my Twitter, you can get a link there. I'm sure the other boys have got it up there as well. We don't care where you come from. Just come over to the Planet Sport Network, and you can now get yourself a free 2-week trial to check out the show and see if you enjoy it. If you're a fan of Ben's or Justin and Ryan's or my stuff over here, a little extra wrinkle, I think, than our normal content, bouncing off each other and some different opinions than you'd normally get, and a very fun time and good chemistry, even if I do say so myself. Did I do all right on the plug, Ben?
Good job.
Thank you. Right, I am fascinated to see how this debate comes out. So do join us over on the Planet Sport Network next week to find out the answer. Will it be Ben HD and FIFA, or Justin Peach and Football Manager? See you soon.